Example 1. We are going to graph y equals negative 4x minus 7. We're also going to find the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the slope. So I'm going to first graph my equation. There's two different ways we can graph it. We can use the graphing calculator to help us fill in the table. So type this y equals negative 4x minus 7 into your calculator. Go to menu, table, and then it will bring up the table, and then you'll just figure out if, for instance, our first point, if x is negative 4, what is the y value? We can also do it by hand, which I'm going to do, and then we're going to graph. So our equation is y equals negative 4x minus 7. So our first x is negative 4. So I'm going to replace x with negative 4. So I have negative 4, and then x, which is also negative 4, minus 7. So negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. 16 minus 7 is going to be 9. So when x is negative 4, y is 9. Okay. Our next point, y equals, our equation is negative 4x. And in this case, x is now negative 2. So I'm going to plug negative 2 there, minus 7. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8, because a negative times a negative is a positive, minus 7, which is 1. So when x is negative 2, y is 1. Now my next point is x is 0, so I have negative 4 times 0 minus 7, which is negative 4 times 0, 0, minus 7, negative 7. So when x is 0, y is negative 7. Now when x is 2, I'm going to plug 2 into my equation. So I have negative 4 times 2 minus 7. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15. So when x is 2, y is negative 15. And then my last point, y equals negative 4 times 4 minus 7. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16 minus 7, which should be negative 23. Minus 23. And to be honest with you, these x values, you could have picked any number that you wanted and plugged it into the equation to graph it. And remember, you only really need 2 points to graph a line. So now I'm going to go ahead and graph these points. I have negative 4, 9, which is all the way up here. I'm going to go 4 to the left and then up 9. And then my next point is negative 2, 1. I'm going to start from the center. I'm going to go left 2 and then up 1. And then 0, negative 7, which is right down here. And then 2, negative 15. 2, negative 15, it's going to be off my graph. So I'm just going to stop there because the last 2 points, these 2 points are off my graph. So there's no point of graphing them. Now I'm going to do the best I can to connect my dots. I would probably use your ID, and that is not what I wanted. I'm doing it on the computer, so it's going to be a little crooked, but your graph should not be crooked like mine. Be better than Miss Lau, which I know you are. Okay. So now that I graphed it, I'm going to go back and find my x-intercept, my 0, my y-intercept, and my slope. So I'm going to find the y-intercept and the slope first because that's pretty obvious or easier. So remember, my y-intercept is just where my graph touches the y-axis, which is right here, this orange dot, and that is negative 7. So I'm going to put negative 7 here. And then it's also, since my equation is given to us, it's also going to be the b in my equation, which is right here. It's going to also be the number after my x or before my x. It's just not in front of x. Okay, now I'm going to find my slope. I'm going to pick my 2 points. Here's my 1 point. Here's my other point in blue. I'm going to figure out how much I rise. I go up 8. And since I went up 8, that's positive 8. And then I'm going to go the left 1, 2. Since I went to the left, that is negative 2. And that's a negative. Okay, so that means my slope is 8 over negative 2, which is negative 4. And remember, it should also be the number in front of my x, which it is, and that's my slope. Please make sure that slope is a number. I should not have an x there, and if I see an x there, I'm probably going to take off points because that is incorrect, and slope is a number. Okay, this case, my slope-intercept formula is there, so I got the y-intercept and my slope. Now I'm going to find the x-intercept, which in this case is going to be a little bit more difficult than normal, but I'm a smart, intelligent student and I can figure it out. So if you notice, my slope-intercept is going to be right here. It's going to be somewhere in between negative 1 and negative 2. It's not quite negative 2, but it's closer to negative 2 than negative 1. So I'm going to say it's negative 1.75. Okay? So the majority of the time your x-intercept or your 0, please make sure you know both of those terms and it means the same thing, is going to be a whole number. But in this case it was a decimal. And if it's ever a decimal, I will let you know. Okay? Since we found all my information, found x-intercept, y-intercept, slope, and I graphed it, I am done.